Dirty computer walking by. If you look closer, you'll recognize I'm not that special. I'm broken inside, crashing slowly. The bugs are in me. Dirty computer breaking down, picking my face up off the ground. I'll love you in this space and time, 'cause baby I'll ever be is your dirty computer. Dirty computer.
So there's first couple of facts I gave you are stunning in themselves, right? The idea that there are more college graduates, less women in STEM fields, and less women of color in STEM fields. Look at the numbers. It's pretty unsettling. So the deal is that women still have kind of crummy attitudes. Then that can be young women in high school and women in college, and don't feel quite able to really dip into those fields of engineering, of mathematics, of technology, the way that men do. And we already know, right? It has to do with gender socialization and convincing females that they are not smart enough to do this kind of stuff or tough enough or whatever. We didn't get those trial and error moments in life, all the way from building with Legos and climbing trees and seeing what's going to fall and, all of that stuff. We're so eliminated from it. So, in many ways, gender bias and technology are two very different concepts. Okay. Oh, yeah, because this is interesting, I thought. The whole idea that technology is gender neutral, right? Because we're just talking about computers and bits and bytes and binary, whatever all that stuff is. All that stuff below there, those little like nothing things, right? But the deal is how the training, how the schooling, and also how the workforce delivers technology is really gender bias, right? And some of it, of course, is that unconscious bias that we have mentioned and will continue to mention, that we don't necessarily mean to limit girls in school, but we do it as a product of our own socialization and upbringing. And so what do? We definitely promote computer use and technology more to boys than girls. I did it with my own son, this big old strong ass feminist here. Who do I go to when I have problems with my computer? Not my two daughters. I go to my son. What did I do? Right? So we look at the idea of women just being in the kind of added on, augmented sort of thing, right? We weren't trained to just be this decisive go-to kind of thing. And I don't know why I'm saying all this, but you get what I mean. So the deal is, when we look at textbook bias and we look at teacher bias, it's kind of a different thing. The textbook bias, we can see it's black and white. We can maybe eliminate it or augment it or something, even though that doesn't happen as much. But the idea that because we have textbooks that show males in all the tech areas, right? And we have teachers that help to push the idea that it's really males, Melu, a generation, then those gender differences are totally delineated in our upbringing. And it's one reason why women, young women, girls don't lean towards the STEM areas, science, technology, engineering, and math, because of expectations of girls, right? And so gender inequity, where's it? It reigns all over the place. It rules all over the place. But there's all sorts of places that it really holds court, and that's in our 2D world, right? Our 2D sexist world. Social media, big one, right? All sorts of social media. And we know, you personally probably have known and had impact from being maligned due to gender, or seen all sorts of things going on because of gender. So you know what I'm talking about, students. So the deal is, we're more of a digital world, right? We're more digital. We're not this analog anymore. And we all soak it up using social media. So this is just a chart from 2020, which is not too bad. And we look at that white line is worldwide media, and then the scales of where it goes. And so where are we? We're over somewhere to the left. I'm thinking, I can't see us. Where are we? I don't know where we are. Average time spent doing it. Can you see us? Oh yeah, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. So 2 hours and 3 minutes a day. That's a lot. And we know that we're doing it. College students are doing it. High school students are doing it. Old ladies like me are doing it. And so by spending so much time online and all sorts of platforms, there's so much sexism going on. And here's a couple of examples. So just again, if you're looking at just commercials that you see on your phone or on your whatever, and what you look at is you see the gendering of commercials it's so crazy. So if you look to the left, when we see commercials for things for women, they're all done in kind of non-dynamic ways. A lot of it has to do with your appearance, and there's just so much stereotypical things like cosmetics and stuff. So then we look on the right, we're looking at images of more forthright, powerful individuals, and they're always male. And they're usually pretty much white people in a lot of this as well. So we also look at a different thing that also shows up in 2D kind of media is the way that we shoot women and men, photo shoot women and men in terms of how powerful or dynamic they look. And again, the deal is we look a lot at the female body because that's supposed to give us all that great male gaze and objectification and getting the point across. And what that means is that we have determined how males should purport themselves, how they should be presented on social media, and how females should be presented. And there's a million examples, and I'm just going to give you a couple of those. So women, when we're looking at women, we're going to be looking at their bodies, and they're going to be doing fashionable things, right? We're going to do fashionable things. But we look at men, we're going to go, yeah, are you a man who's ready to have it all? Yeah, totally. So we see these kinds of things all the time. Sexist, social media, 2D images, and totally racist ones, because look at my examples. I mean, in terms of making easy go-to examples, usually the white dominant culture. So the deal is, do we think that there's sexism in social media? Yeah, you all agree with me with that, right? But the idea that we don't see misogyny wrapped up into everything that we're looking at is, I think, is dangerous, right? So this journalist did, I thought this was interesting, did a spoof Twitter account, and so he tried at first being a male and getting responses, and then he posed as a female, not him, but did that, and got more abusive and negative responses when he posted as a quote female. So we're back to that, right? We're back to the idea that our dislike of contempt for ingrained prejudice against women were brought up that way due to media and all sorts of things. But wow, does media ever punch it in? I'm sure you have a million examples that you can provide, right, for that. And so it's really easy with social media, as you know, to really broadcast this misogyny, to really get the idea that women specifically are less than men, and they're viewed in an objectified, sexual, and racist manner all the time, right? So this just was an example, just Googling Scarlett Johansson, and what are you going to get? You're not going to get, oh yeah, she's a pretty fabulous actor, right? You're going to get stuff about her body, her hair, her workout, right? And so there's messages that are given to females all the time, and they're so easily conveyed with our 2D platforms in a really horrifying way. This is like from the leader of our country. If Hillary Clinton can't satisfy her husband, what makes her think she can satisfy America? There's just so much wrong in so many ways about that, right? So it was interesting. Oh, I can't see that blue very well. Can you? I can't. A Troll Patrol group of 6,500 people started to analyze the amount of abuse women face online. And I'll read that part. 1.1 million abusive tweets sent to 778 women, equaling 1 every 30 seconds on average. So all this stuff slammed into women all the time, right? Who just put down the famous, like, John Legend's partner. What's her name? She's fabulous. And she just couldn't take anymore. You know who I'm talking about. Geez, sorry. Just read it yesterday that she's still continuing to take down her social media because of all the abuse that she got. She's very outspoken. What's her name? She's fabulous. Gosh, why can't I remember? So the problems show that women of color obviously get more abused online than white women. White women get a good bucketful, but the statistics show, of course, that women of color get it more and black women get it more. And so look at that. So compared to white women, 84% more likely than white women, black women, African American women are going to get abusive tweets. Perfect example here, Leslie Jones, who was on Saturday Night Live, and she did Ghostbusters, the second version of Ghostbusters. And oh my gosh, she got slammed. First of all, they all got slammed because women shouldn't be Ghostbusters. So they all got slammed for being female. But Leslie Jones, super slammed, that she just got such a barrage of stuff. It's just incredible. And Twitter, she got so slammed. It's this racist and sexist, misogynistic comments by the mere fact that she was an actor in a popular movie, and she was a woman, and she was a woman of color, a black woman. And she ditched Twitter for a long time. I mean, that's a lot of abuse because she looks like a pretty tough, strong woman to not wanting to take on all that kind of stuff. So it's all over the place, right? It's everywhere online. It's everywhere in our 2D screens. So lies told by females. I hate females who. That's what sluts do. What a promotion of sick and disgusting and evil and sexist and misogynistic messages that we let hang out there for all to see, including our girls. Bad. So it's part of cyberbullying, right? And that's just specifically bullying using social media, using 2D kind of stuff. Crazy. I mean, crazy that that's even out there. It's so easy to do, especially because you can be anonymous, right? You can just do whatever the hell you want to do, and you get a wide audience. And, some of us that shut down things, but that we even have to stop this barrage of I'm just going to keep saying it, sexist, racist, misogynistic onslaught, typically by males, by white males, is really crazy. It's just crazy. So the deal is, even though we've tried to shut some of this stuff down and try to block some of this stuff, even though we have people like Facebook and Twitter that continue to let total asshats spread their hatred on their mediums, it's increasing. So, yeah, I can't. A lot of really crappy, evil messages. I'm just saying evil. I never even used that word. But just think that this stuff is in the hands of girls and boys and young women and young men and just, older people, all this stuff, just this barrage of hatred that just really messes with your head, right? And again, the idea if you do it anonymously, you can just do some crazy stuff. I'm just going to give you an example of my sister. She got bullied online. They had to shut down her whole her website, her school website, because she jokingly was talking about boys not getting as much time with girls on Legos in school, some local journal article, and when she was trying to encourage girls to use Legos more, and the person asked her, when are you going to let boys do it? She said off record jokingly, when hell freezes over, which is not the case at all. She's got 2 years of bombarded, and then it gets recycled into some other thing, and it just got popped up again right before COVID started. I mean, so she just they were saying awful things about her. Like, look at my poor little 68-year-old sister teacher. They're saying, using the C word, you know which one I mean, and saying they wanted to kill her and to I'm just gonna say it, trigger warning, rape her, all this stuff, because they could do it anonymously. Crazy stuff. So I like this. You could be sitting at home in your living room outside of working hours, and suddenly someone is able to send you a graphic rape threat right into the palm of your hand. That's powerful, awful stuff, right? It's powerful. And it's wretched. So again, these are acts of violence. This is abuse against women. Against anyone who sees the messages, really, but they're directed towards women, typically, what I'm talking about. So when we look at the inequity, when we look at the discrimination against women, it's in all of our arenas, right? And this is a perfect arena to really slam it into them, right? There's nobody telling you to restrain yourself. You just open up your screens sometime and you get awful stuff. Every woman knows what I'm talking about. And you guys, you know too. A lot of misogyny going on here. So this was a poll that it's a couple years old now, but that's found that a big survey, actually 64% of women believed online abuse or harassment of women is common. That's like the majority, right? I think you're probably agreeing there with me, women, right? And it's not isolated. And I mean, it's not even isolated for my 68-year-old little kindergarten teacher sister to get some of this stuff. So it's all over the place. And think what it is for women of color that have been objectified and sexualized since the beginning of the United States of America. If not before, but I'm just talking about the US, right? So look, continuing that, 23% of women said they experienced abuse or harassment online. That's a whole lot. That's a lot. And this is from 2017, and they said it's increased. So the numbers are up. The numbers are totally up, right? And this is easy to say. 1 in 3 stated they experienced, because 1 in 3 have experienced sexual harassment, and 1 in 6 have experienced, trigger warning here, rape. So, this doesn't surprise me, but it's such an easy vehicle, right? You can harass, you can harass women with a push of a button, thousands of miles away, in the comfort of your own home, right? So 2D sexism is something to really consider, not only the construction of these images online that have objectified women, not only the idea that we don't give girls and young women a chance to even get competent in these fields to make better money and to have better self-worth, all that stuff, not even any of that. So big threat online is like, okay, if you just put that LOL at the end of it, right, then, it was a joke. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Just a joke. So we can do that kind of stuff, right? We can just do a little ha ha ha, and it's harmless. It's gone. Don't worry about it. So again, the idea that this is a familiarity bias means like, yeah, it's just normalized. We see it so much that, some people say, oh yeah, it doesn't even bug me. Some women say, yeah, it doesn't bug me. It's just like everyday thing. And that's the danger of all of this, right? That's the danger if we socialize ourselves to believe that it's okay to do this kind of stuff to half of our population. And it's not only just emotional damage. It's physical damage, right? It's threat of life and all sorts of things. It's things that change women's total life with some of the incidents that have transpired with them. And y'all know what I'm talking about with that. So just to do that. And social media normalizes other things too. So we got the idea that all this abuse, just, par for the course. But also we have the idea of how you're supposed to really be in real life, right? How you're supposed to be in real life, take 5 million pictures and filters and present yourself in just an unreal fashion. They've got all sorts of videos and ways that you can look. You can look like a supermodel, right? Here's how to do it and how not to do it. So then, of course, it's like photo shooting, right? That we're doctoring how we look, and these images aren't real. And what happens is that women that look at these images and never can reach that ideal because it's not real. It's not a real ideal. It's totally phony baloney, right? And I'm not saying that women don't get the right or have the right to enhance themselves or accessorize themselves or whatever they want to do. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that if we always just see one side of how people look and it's not real, especially if we're influencing young women. I look at the stuff we talked about. Girls dieting as young as 8 and as young as 6, questioning their own image because of what they see out there. If they don't see the real stuff, I mean, just the difference in this, it's such an influence. It's crazy, crazy stuff. So I just said it all, that we reinforce unrealistic and racist beauty ideals, right? I mean, it's the whole idea. So what we do is we just puff up this unreal world of how you're supposed to look, the ideal of beauty, the ideal of confidence, of whatever is racist and it's sexist. So the thing is, we got to like deconstruct this stuff, right? We got to realize that all of this is BS, but it's such an onslaught. It's just hard to parse through it, right? It's hard to get there. But good news, it's getting better in terms of conveying different body types and pride of your image and stuff. It's really, really getting a little bit better. So this is one of, body positivity. It's just awesome that we see this kind of stuff out there, right? We see this stuff among all the other things. So, okay, look at this one. Body positive content on Instagram shows that these posts do broad range of body sizes. Okay, so this is getting better. Oh, yeah, I'm happy, right? I dug this up and it made me feel like there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. It's a really long tunnel, though, in terms of sexism and racism, right? It's so long. And the male gaze and, what is appropriate, what is sexy, what is beautiful. So it's interesting, though, that it seems like it's what I got from looking at some of my stuff in this is that it might be easier for women to influence the rights online. So it might be an easier battle, which then could transpose to the real world as well, offline things in terms of restrictions of preventing some of this stuff. So I like that idea. I like the idea that we can practice online to have our voice heard and shut down, and then apply that in the real world as well, the offline world, which they're both real, right? So I'm thinking that's a good thing. I'm thinking that the idea of women really having strong voices and pointing out this stuff and tearing down stereotypes and categories and objectification and all of that, if we can do it in this media platform, maybe we can branch out because, oh my gosh, it's so overpowering, right? It's like it seems endless. It seems endless that we'll never get there. So, whew, I'm rattling on about this, right? I'm rattling on. So sorry about that. But I think that the social media can work for women, and we're finding that it does. I mean, there's like, for example, all over the place. Look at social media encourages more level playing field. So that's happening more because we get to hear more voices. You don't have to crowd and be last in line to have your voice heard now. There's so many formats, TikTok and just Facebook workshops and stuff so women of color and women in general can have stronger voices, and those stronger voices have started movements, right? And have done some pretty good shutdown stuff too, in terms of really showing that women have a voice and have some power, and that's what we want to happen in social media, and that's how it needs to change. And I'll stop talking about it though, but it's like, okay, maybe technology is going to work a little bit better for women than I thought it would, at least on the 2D stuff. Maybe we'll catch up with getting more women in the STEM field. I don't know. It's a long battle, but I'm ready to fight it. And so are other women. So right on.